So we need to start reaching down to them and also get them the message that all the trades, all the kinds of jobs that you're talking about here, they are just as good and they should be considering them because they're no different than any other high school kid that is being told what's being successful. So I just wanted to emphasize that there's a tremendous potential labor pool out there that because of a few group that truly have the needs that I mentioned tend to scare people about the total population of the Hispanic community.
I'll say I'm sad to hear that the perception of America is the three categories that you described. When I think of Latino or Hispanic, I think of hardworking, I think of happy, I think of religious. Those are the first three things. Polite, cordial. Those are the things that come to my mind when I think Hispanic. So one of the things I did pick up yesterday from Governor Walker, which he's working on, is that I believe 48% of our children in Milwaukee School District do not graduate from high school. And what he had stated is there's a significant program going on right now that kind of statistically interesting for me. Up until 3rd grade, we are learning to read. After 3rd grade, we are reading to learn. And if we don't hit our reading levels at age 4th grade or 5th grade, we start to fall significantly behind, and then we lose interest in finishing high school. So that was just kind of a little statistic that I thought was kind of interesting. Moving on to another question. Who's responsible to train our future workforce? Yeah, please.
Back in the early 1900s, as a result of the growth in mechanization, the United States was placed in a precarious place where individuals learned tasks and did them very well, to the point where when the tasks started becoming bigger, they broke down even more. And what happened is that we lost an entire workforce that didn't have the entire skill. In the early 1900s, the state of Wisconsin was the first to introduce apprenticeship into state government, introduced it into the state, established this Wisconsin Technical College system to help support the training, and called it apprenticeship. Under apprenticeship, the industry is responsible to train its workforce. It works wonderfully. It is the hallmark of the nation, the Wisconsin model. There is nothing that comes close. Industry develops a training program to bring the young workforce, or the not so young workforce, into an on-the-job learning experience and couple it with related training. The technical aspect of the industry has to be supported. And along those lines, the important thing to remember about apprenticeship is there's credentials, there's college credits that go along with it. You have to engage the worker, you have to give them something to grow towards. So the apprentice wage starts at an entry level. The more they learn, the more they earn. After the course of a 3, a 4, or a 5-year program, they become a journey worker, and then they can journey up. One of the complaints we hear all the time is, well, we don't want to do that because we spend all our time and money developing training for our individuals and they leave me. I was always taught you need to surround yourself with the brightest people in the room because you brought them there, right? And so when you train and educate your workforce, the workforce has an investment towards you and with you. They learn your methodology and you're responsible to make sure that the training process works. It is a partnership, and the reason that it's so successful, again, is because it's tried and true, it's 100 years old. It's not the old method. The method has to evolve with the industry. So we work with the technical colleges, we work with the industry in general to expand the training and make sure that that training moves forward. Again, getting paid to learn is a time-honored position.
Let me give another perspective.
And if you can also add to it, as a builder, how do I, what do I do as a builder? How do I get people involved in construction as a builder?
I think we have to rethink just about all levels of learning. Because we need to understand the young people, and I've got my report from the technical college and the university. Just let me give you some quick changes that I get to these things. At the university level, we're talking about the introduction right now of the learning, getting people diplomas at the university level for life experience. Unheard of. Unheard of, because that is totally contrary to the method of university education. At the high school levels, you've got these virtual high schools, it's all online. A lot of that example. And I think that there's two things we need to understand. We need to understand how young people are learning. And the other thing is impatience. There's a tremendous amount of impatience there of wanting to learn something. Even look at a computer screen, whether it's a cell phone or an iPad or whatever, how quickly kids go through those screens. If you don't catch my attention within the first 2 seconds, I'm on to the next one. Unfortunately, that is what we're dealing with. So how do we adapt how we teach? And the other thing also is how do we allow people to keep coming back? Because that's one of the big lessons that the university learned. Technical college, people come in, they don't complete, they leave, but if there's no invitation to get them back, they won't come back. And I think there's another big labor force out there, and that's the one that tried it, quit, and hasn't come back. And that needs to be invited back to learn, and to get all the skills that you're talking about. But this whole area of learning is evolving continuously.
If I can, I want to go a little more free-flowing given the time that we have here. Brian, what did you want to accomplish today in sharing with the panel, and what message would you like to get out, just in general?
I think more importantly, what I wanted to bring to the panel really is that generational gap. How, and I don't have the answer to this, and I encourage people to help me out with this. How do we change the dynamic in our school system for the younger generation to realize that they all don't have to and should not go to a four-year college? I'll be the first one to say I didn't go to college. I have no degree. I learned the hard way. My father taught me how to do everything his way when I started doing this how many years ago? When I was 12 or 13. And I learned it that way. Now, not every kid has that opportunity. But so many of our young people aren't in the industry they want to be in, or are saddled with debt and they don't know what to do, and they didn't have to be there in the first place. And how can we change that dynamic? How can we show them that right out of high school you can have a good paying job, you can make a good entry-level wage, work your way up, learn the trades, and have a great career in the trades. Maybe you have your own company someday, move up. And that's the biggest question for me and my company, because we do not see that in my business. I have 30 employees right now, 3 of them are under the age of 30, the rest of them, and I'm not seeing that demand.
Bill, free-flowing discussion, what did you want to accomplish today?
Well, it takes a village to educate our young people, and right now for a high school graduate with a seat average or better, there's so much competition, whether they're from the city of Waukesha, Commonwealth, the city of Milwaukee. The universities are looking for that student. the skilled trades are looking for that student, all the professions across the board. And I don't think anybody would deny that there's so much competition, so many job opportunities that we never had. It's really difficult for a student to make an accurate selection, and what can help us all be successful here is to have more role models, whether it be a plumber, electrician, or a home builder, as well as not only the role models, but career paths. Somebody can start as a general utility worker and move through the various aspects of the trade and perhaps own his or her own company.
Great.
I guess I would just echo that, college is great, but college is not for everyone. And, you see colleges cropping up everywhere, whether they're online or just new schools being built. But it's not for everyone, and I think that we can all work to change the perception of the trades, to make it a positive thing again. I know with the vast majority of our apprentices, they don't take out a loan to go through school. They're working full-time, they're making good money. They write a check every semester. And so when they're done, they're making well over $30 an hour, and they have no school loans to pay off. So getting that message out, I think is something important that we can all work on.
Tom, catching perception is the general thing in getting kids involved. What else would you have out there?
Well, it's interesting, I was listening to Jose, and I remember Steve had said something that, Jose talked about adapting, and I know in education, at least in my role, we have a significant stand in terms of what we're going to be doing, at least in our school system. And we look at where do we want these kids to have as a set of skills and knowledge level by the time they're done with 6th grade. What kind of skills and knowledge level do we want to have them have at the end of 8th grade? And then where do we want them to be at the end of 9th grade? And then where do we want them to be at the end of their senior year? We feel like the whole skills piece of it has been displaced. And the skills, these kids are, I know in the manufacturing world, they're going to these colleges, finishing those colleges, and then they're having to go to a WCTC because of the skills. So how can we give those skills more in education at the high school and the middle school level? That's a big part of what we need to do as teachers. And I know when you consider the word adapt, as you had mentioned, Jose, as teachers, we also need to understand that kids are going to have these cell phones. And how do teachers in our high school make those adaptations to those kids using those devices? We don't try to make changes to those students learning that or understanding it, because they're just going to come in with it. And you can't, and I don't want to say that you can't fight it, because you can fight it, but I think it's going to be a no-win. And I think that if you adapt to what they've come up with, and that they've have been accustomed to with their electronic devices, maybe there's a different way to use them. That might help out.
Joe, you talked about marketing and how do we market. It sounds like this is a perception of, or a problem of marketing. So how does the MBA and us as members market better? What do we do? What have you done? What did you want to bring to the table today?
Thank you. The Department of Labor says that the average student will have between 10 and 14 different jobs by the age of 38. And if you haven't checked, there's a YouTube video out there called Did You Know? Look at it one time, please. But anyways, I want you to be aware that you have some partners in the industry, and that is the state of Wisconsin has put some information together to work with contractors for apprenticeship programs. And please, apprenticeship program is not union. It's union and non-union. It's about the whole learning as you go. Adapting. I want you to understand that the construction industry is still 2 times more dangerous than that of being a police officer, and they argue with people that play with guns. So education, it's about getting those people educated, and it's over the course of 4 years, and oh, by the way, concrete starts to set in 45 minutes, okay? And so there are some hard and fast things we can change and do change and need to adapt, but the reality of it is it's a dangerous industry that has some parameters that we need to work within, and there are some partners out there that will help you develop your workforce through apprenticeship. They're free, it doesn't cost anybody. There's information on how to contact people, how to get into the apprenticeship trades. are into the apprenticeship programs, and they're all out there. And they'll lead you to either Bulloch, to Bill Bulloch or myself or some of the other technical colleges in the area. But it's about a registered program and a commitment to market yourself as a viable industry. We spend an awful lot of time reaching out to high schools. We do career fairs, the Waukesha County Construction Career Fair. I travel anywhere across the middle part of the state of Wisconsin to talk about careers. At the end of the day, they want to talk to people who are in the industry. They don't want to talk to us. They want to talk to the young folks that are in there. And believe it or not, our biggest champion is the apprentice, who's serving the apprenticeship, can see the gain, can see the growth, and can see the success.
Jose, we'll have Jose speak, and then if you guys can start to ask questions to the panel. We'll open up for general questions for the next 20 minutes. Maybe let Andrew share 2.5 and wrap up at 2:30. Jose?
Let me give you a thought on marketing and how we can change kids' perceptions. And I'm going to use this example of another agency that I'm involved in, and they wanted to get teenagers into their program that had to do with